Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Tag League. So we are now in day 6. We're only going to focus on the B block matches only. So we will see what happens until then. But if anybody wants to know the main event is, of course, the United Empire's current IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Hinare and Great Khan, take on the most hated group in New Japan, the House of Morons, or should I say the House of Tortures, as what they call themselves. Well, let's see if their dirty tricks will work, because we know they will do whatever it takes to win. And then we move on with our last review with, of course, NXT. As you know, about a week ago, we saw the demise of Chase U after Chase Owens failed to stop Rich Holland to reaching his goal. But the real question, how will that affect now? But we also will continue with two more matches in both the men's and women's Iron Survivor Challenge. So we will see who will walk out in that. And also, of course, we have the NXT North American Women's Championship will be defended. Tatum Paxley, who made an impact on Fallon Henley, will get her shot on that. So we will see about that. And then, of course, we move on with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that it's pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. If you like what you see, please subscribe to us, so click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said. I believe it's time to get a move on. So, let's begin with our very first review, and this is from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Okay, New Japan Pro Wrestling. We are now continuing with day 8 of World Tag League. So basically, this is one of their much recent events. Now, as I mentioned before, this is all about the B block matches only. So let's get started. Our first match, we have the Natural Classics, the Felipe brothers, Stevie and Otome. They take on the 2/3 of the Never Openweight Tag Team Champions, Toru Yano and Bolton Oldleg. Now, of course, these two teams were currently tied in 2 points. So basically, this was more of a, how do I say, who's going to break the tie. So far, we have seen in the last 2 matches that, we know that the Natural Classics were able to of course, secure one win and they lost another. But however, in this particular match, they had to go through everything. Of course, Yano had to pull up his usual tricks, but in the end, it was Boltin Oli who picked up the win when he applied the kamikaze, and that gave them 2 more points. So that leads up to the total of four, while the natural classics remained at 2. Now, our second match, we have the TMDK, Shane Hayes and Mikey Nichols taking on Yado and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Maya put this on note. Zack Sabre Jr. is, in fact, was doing during commentary with Walker Stewart. Of course, he gave his insight, and of course, Walker had to tell Zack Sabre Jr. that Yado confessed that he feels that the toughest team they have to beat is the former IWGP Tag Team Champions, Hayes and Nichols. And I think Zack Sabre Jr. appreciates that part of him. He knows that there are those they have to be aware of who's the toughest. And of course, it was no different because, of course, Yado was the one who ended up on the wrong side of the figure four leg lock by Mikey Nichols, giving them their next 4 points, leaving still Yado and Tanahashi with just 0. Now, our third match, we have just 5 guys, Taka Michinoku and Taichi, taking on Hiromu Takahashi and Tetsuya Naito. Of course, there were going to be certain moments that we definitely going to see. I wasn't too sure on this one because we know that, of course, Taka and Taichi, along with Doiki and possibly Uemura, who's out on injury, are trying to deal with the effects of Sonata's betrayal. I'm not sure if they will find another member to join, but we will see what happens. But in fact, it was Hiromu who picked up the win with the Kumo roll, and just like that, giving them their next 2 points. So that plays out pretty well, leaving Taka and Taichi with just 2. Now for our main event. Before we jump in, I want to put on a note that on the Spanish broadcast team, that Weasel and trader of just 5 guys, Kanemaru, showed up. Now, I knew he was going to get involved because the main event features the House of Morons, Ren Narita and Evil, taking on the current IWGP Tag Team Champions, Great Okan and Hinare. But of course, when it comes to these jokers, they like to cheat, they like to do whatever it takes. Not to mention, effing Dick gets involved every single time, then Kanemaru gets involved. So even when the referee is out, that's always been the case. But however, it did not fall prey. Not to mention that smirking moron Ren Narita thought he can get away with it by using the push-up bar. It did not do any favors for nobody because apparently this hose bag ended up on the wrong side of the Imperial drop, got pinned by Khan, and just like that, they win their next 2 points. Now the total points is 4 and 4. But however, while Hinare and Great Khan were about to celebrate their victory, they were interrupted by a video message from former IWGP both junior and heavyweight tag champions, former AEW World Tag Team Champions, well, should I say, one of the best tag teams in the world, the Young Bucks. It appears the Young Bucks are now aiming for the IWGP Tag Team titles at Wrestle Dynasties. So basically, that's their end game. But it makes me wonder, what does Hinare and Great Khan think? Of course, they probably think that these guys are a bunch of jokers, but needless to say, we'll just have to wait and see what happens from here on out. So, we'll see. So, right now, we are done with New Japan. Let's move on with our last and final review, NXT. Okay, NXT. It opened up with Rich Holland doing his promo. As you know, he talks about what he did with the Chase U, but now his primary focus is Trick Williams and the NXT title. So he made it short, sweet, and simple. But the one thing question is, what does Trick Williams now have to think? Should he be concerned over the fact of what Rich Holland did? Well, that is something we will just have to wait and see. Now let's jump into, of course, our first match, and this is the men's Iron Survival Qualifier match, Ethan Page versus Axiom. Now, of course, Ethan Page, it's no secret that he will do whatever it takes to regain the NXT championship that he lost to Trick Williams. But he has to go through Axiom. As you know, Axiom, now he's picking up bad habits from Nathan Frazier, as you know. So basically, that's what was going on. Now, of course, Axiom will do whatever it takes to try to win, but this time it was Ethan Page that was able to pick up the win when he applied a lariat, and just like that, it was over. However, of course, he was about to do the promo. Nathan Frazier was talking, and then he was about to say certain remarks about Axiom. And then Wesley, Javon Evans showed up, because those two men are part of the Iron Survival Challenge. But however, Axiom and Frazier have to realize they're now in the middle of a war because, as you know, the tag team division is heating up. So basically, they're taking it in the back. So that's how the whole thing started. So we'll get more to that in a little bit. Now, Lola Vice had a little nice conversation with Stephanie Vakir, trying to clear the air things of what happened this past Tuesday, where of course Lola Vice kind of cost Jada Parker the match. But Stephanie Vakir said, "Look, I know you would have won, but my war between Jada Parker and her is not done." So basically, Stephanie understands her motive. So basically, it was like water under the bridge. But however, Ren Sakil really, 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 really pushed the wrong buttons. So that's her fault. Now, Nikita Lyons was having a nice conversation with Shantidita Adonis. Well, I don't know what's going on, but it seems that Carmen Petrovic is becoming jelly. So, yep. So, I don't know it's like a real interesting love story. I don't know, but we'll see where that leads us. Now, Ren Sinclair, as you know, she had a lot of things to do, but she has to deal with Lola Vice. Of course, Lola Vice, who is on a mission to destroy Jada Parker, and that's exactly what was going to happen. So I can give you this one real short. Lola Vice applied a back fist, and just like that, it was over. However, in the post match, well, Lola Vice did not use a microphone, but she made this whole thing loud and clear in front of the camera that she wants Jada Parker in the underground or something, which indicates that she wants her in the NXT underground match, which we know she has involved herself in before. But I don't think Jada Parker has ever been in this type of match before, but we will see where that leads. Now, before their upcoming match, Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen were talking about their upcoming title match happening. Of course, Brooks Jensen was saying how he was happy, how the entire situation was manipulated by Shawn Spears to make this match happen. So that kind of makes clear exactly where they're going to leading. However, while Tatum Paxley was having a great time playing with her dolls, talking about how it'd be cool to win the NXT Women's North American title, well, members of the Fatal Influence, of course, Jay-Z Jane and Jasmine Nix were trying to tell her she would never. And there was like a doll with the orange hair showed up and all that, but Tatum Paxley said that her past would come back to haunt her. And of course, a mysterious hand picked up one of the dolls. I don't know what that meant, but it's very interesting to see. But we will see that match at the main event. Now, our next match is the NXT North American title, Shawn Spears versus Tony D'Angelo. Of course, Shawn Spears put all of his effort to try to win this match in every possible way, but in the end, it was, of course, Tony D'Angelo with a spine buster to pick up the win. But, however, while the celebration happened, of course, Jensen and Spears decided to attack him, but out of nowhere, some guy named Nico attacked Tony D'Angelo. So it seems that we don't know what Shawn Spears' motives are now. Even their attention turned into Andrea Rizzo. I don't know if they're trying to tell her to come in and help Tony D'Angelo, or she's just worried that she would get hurt. But we will see what happens from down the road. Now, of course, we did see a tag team continue to beat the crap out of each other in the back, so I don't know how long that's going to go. But we also saw a clip where Chase U closes its doors, so it's a very sad moment. Now, our next match, this was a match that was requested by Kelani Jordan. She wanted to be part of the Iron Survival Challenge, so she picks Julia. I have to say there were some great moments of this match. I mean, Kelani Jordan is trying to prove a point because those that still doubt the ability of Kelani Jordan. I mean, I don't blame her at all. She seemed like she had this match won in every possible way, but no, Julia was able to walk away with a Northern Lights bomb, and just like that, it was over. Now, in the back of the entire building, we did see Ava, our general manager Ava, was telling the ones who lost their matches at the Iron Survival qualifiers, saying that they will be a last chance match, or Of course, four, like many of the wrestlers, the four who lost their match will be in a participation. But however, Eddie Thorpe, who feels that he was cheated out because of what happened, but Ava had no tensions to talk, saying, "Look, there's nothing I can do about that." However, she also decided to talk to both Frazier and Axiom about, of course, the current situation. She did say that next week there's going to be a battle royal and a tag team division to see who will be their next challengers at Deadline. Of course, Frazier and Frazier with their usual ways, that's going to happen. But however, while everything was getting out of hand, of course, Ava Rain was trying to walk away, but Eddie Thorpe, who was desperate, trying to get the attention. Apparently, Ava was not appreciating what happened. All of a sudden, she got knocked down. So things got out of control, of course. But Sean Spears took it really like like the boss should be, telling Eddie Thorpe to put him in his place for what he's done. I mean, Eddie Thorpe cannot take any losses like this, but I think Sean Spears is trying to tell him to stop whining. So we'll see where that leads. Now, we did see, of course, Trick Williams makes his way to do a promo. He talks about Rich Holland, about the kind of person he is, you know, saying that you're all about destruction, bro. You like to destroy things, but you're trying to destroy NXT for what it stands for. Saying that NXT had let the door open for wrestlers like Braun Breaker, Ilya Dragunov, and of course Carmelo Hayes. But he also said he does not like how things ended with Chase U and all that. And of course, Rich Holland, who is determined to win this belt, he said he was trying to say a few words, but however, unexpectedly, well, we saw, of course, Eric Bischoff made his way. Apparently, he is saying that he will be there and see what happens. So that's something I think many of us will look forward to it. Now, our main event is the NXT Women's North American Championship. Tatum Paxley versus Fallon Henley. As you know, Fatal Influence are trying to prove their point, saying that they are the influence of NXT. Bullshit. So basically, that's what they've been going. Of course, in the back of my mind, of course, Fatal Influence, Nyx and Jane will get involved, but I didn't see any of that coming up. But however, Fallon Henley was able to pick up the win when she applied the Famouser. But in the end, of course, Fatal Influence decided to take out Tatum Paxley. But of course, Paxley did stated her Jay-Z Jane's past would come back and haunt her. Well, that past is former, of course, forgot the name of the group. The Fatal Attraction, I think, showed up. Gigi Dolan. I don't think she expected it. So, I don't know what Jay-Z Jane would think. So basically, their plans will probably be how do I say, ruined? Who knows? But it's great to see her again. We haven't seen her for quite some time. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But for now, let's just end things here and move on with our last and final thing: news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events from the promotions. Starting with GCW, as you know, on the 6th of December, we will have the Ransom event in Tampa. Sidney Akeem, formerly known as Scripps and Reggie, will be taking on Man Like the Reese. Then we have the highest of the Room 3 in LA on the 14th of December. Ricky Starks will take on Matt Cardona. And then, of course, we have the People versus GCW taking place on the 19th of January in 2025 in New York City. We have Masato Tanaka and Tajiri. Now, I'm kind of curious what they're going to say in English because that's going to be fun to watch. Now, interesting news. This was announced that Azusa Inaba will have her first independent show. There's going to be a bit of a switch off Sister Rule in here. As you know, Azusa Inaba has been teaming up with Rina, who are the current New Blood Tag Team Champions. This event will take place on the 29th of November by the end of this month. Near the end of this month, well, Azusa Inaba teams up with Rina, while her sister will be across from her, and she teams up with Hanan. So that's going to be one crazy match to enjoy. As you know, we have the WrestleCade weekend taking place between the 29th of November all the way to the 1st of December. Referee Mike Chioda will be there, so that's going to be a lot of fun. On the 1st of December in Chicago, as you know, we have the DEFY with Progress during the collaboration. The AAW tag team titles will be defended. Shaft, along with Russ Jones, will defend their belts against Sunshine Machine. Uh, Once again, is that time of year with Wrestling Revolver. The season finale will be taking place on the 7th of December. Alan Angels and Jake Chris will be involved. Then we have the West Coast Pro. The only the strong survive on the 10th of January of 2025. Alan Angels will be there as well. Then of course we have MLW, the Kings of the Coliseum. Virus will be there. And on the 25th of January of 2025, we have a collaboration between French promotion Banger Zone Wrestling and GCW. Effie will be part of that show as well, called Enter the Zone. So that's going to be a lot of interesting to see. Now for some interesting developments. TNA has announced that they signed Li Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li, so she is now part of the TNA roster, which is good. Uh, the WWE ID has announced for more names now. WWE did not actually make the announcement about this with Kylie Ray, but it's officially it is, and they hired Freedom Ramsey. I don't know who he is. Thailand Promotion has announced their 5-year anniversary, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, here's an interesting article coming from Fightful Select. A Kid, it's been reported that he's enjoying his retirement. We know that Axiom has been talking about him, so that's kind of interesting to see. Now, as you all saw what happened this past Saturday at Full Gear, as you know, many of us expected what was going to happen between Mina Shitakawa and, of course, Mariah May. Um, well, Mina has finally broken her silence over what just transpired. This is what she had to say. Mina on her suspicions that Mariah May would turn her. I felt both that I truly believed Mariah for betraying Tony, and that maybe we should do the same thing. But yesterday, my doubts suddenly turned into certainly. I had a mental breakdown. Before I knew it, I had to push her away. That's it, important that she was to me. Then, of course, what was her? She even talked about her plans in AEW with Mariah May before she betrayed her. The reason I came back to the U.S. this time was to celebrate Mariah May, to have a lot of matches with Rose Gold, and finally get the AEW to create a women's tag team belt, which doesn't exist yet, but I can't do it all. I'm in a daze right now. She even talked about, of course, Mina on Mariah May posting, I want Mina. I don't know what Mina's true feelings are. When I saw the video of Mariah holding champagne bottle, she had a really scary look on her face. I wonder if that this want has a different meaning. I want you to break me or something. So, yeah, it makes sense. And then, of course, she talks about wanting revenge for Mina on Mariah May. This is what she said. I arrived at the hotel completely worn out whenever I had any problems in the U.S. Mariah always helped me out, and we had meals together, had even filmed together. I can't trust anymore. Mariah will regret betraying me. So, what do you guys think? Do you think we expected Mariah May and Mina clash for the AEW Women's Title? If she wins this, that's going to be something cool. Now, Ricky Starks recently talked about, of course, what's going on with him and AEW. This is what he had to say, and this was on the Chris Van Vliet. Beats me. I could have 1,000 theories about what's really going on. The fact of the matter is, I don't have a definitive answer. I can't make up and interpret people and just assume. Will Would I love to know exactly reason? For sure. Do I have speculations about why? Absolutely. But that does nothing. To speak on things that I speculate does nothing for the situation. I think it's just a matter of it sucks. It's been cold day in Austin. It may be cold for the past 9 months. Thankfully, I have a sweater and I really am ready to keep warm going. So basically, he cannot give a definitive answer what's going on. I mean, he could try to speculate or try to think, but that doesn't help him at all. So it's understandable. PW Insider talked about Adam Copeland recently, about he's cleared to, of course, physically cleared for physically, but not expected to return into the ring. Because he's done filming for the second season of Disney's Percy Jackson. So basically, there are things to be wrapped up by January. So that is something we could expect. And then finally, of course, Penta has been revealed that his contract will be out with AEW next week. Of course, there's a lot of speculations going around that he could be heading to WWE. We will just wait and see. And I did state it that this is on WWE's court if they're going to put him in the main roster or not. So we will see where that leads us. So I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we do have more with New Japan Pro Wrestling's World Tag League and, of course, AEW Dynamite. So we are going to enter in the aftermath of what happened this past Saturday in Full Gear. So the real question is, where do we go from there? John Moxley will definitely try to celebrate the fact that Orange Cassidy is out of the picture, but now they had to contend with Darby Allin. So we will see where that leads us and everything else happening as well. If there's any other update reviews, we'll see. But for now, this is pretty much it, and we'll leave things as it is. But until then, I will say this, and I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.